All right, whatever.
We got plenty of time. We're talking about baseball and soccer right now. You got like, at least 3 minutes. Well, with Lyle, like 20.
Yo, real quick though, the John Jones, we're just gonna run through it,
Yeah.
and the Heisman, I'm just gonna mention that, right? The Heisman odds. We're not
Yeah,
going,
that's what I just going to mention.
but the Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence from Clemson.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to think of an introduction.
What's wrong with the usual? Welcome back to J&J Talk Sports.
Yeah, I'm gonna act like I was just listening to the beat.
No, you just come in. Oh, I didn't see you there. Welcome back to another episode of J&J Talk Sports.
All right, ready? All right, Lyle, you can do the countdown.
5, 4.
Wait, time out. By the way, did you see my comment about the robots you guys were playing with?
Oh, the Transformers? Yeah.
Yeah, right? Doesn't it look like a what's her?
Oh, they look like Transformers, absolutely.
Okay, cool. What game are you playing?
Overwatch.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
Oh, wait, real quick.
1 second.
No, I was just saying, the NFL Combine standouts. We're not going to mention DK Metcalf.
Yeah, of course we're going to mention the obvious people.
Well, Kyler Murray and all that.
Yeah, we're going to mention Kyle Murray, Quentin Williams running a 4.88, DK Metcalf. What is it? DJ Sweat? What's his name? The defensive end that ran a 4.41, faster than Julio, faster than OBJ, and he's a defensive end. From Texas A&M. His last name is Sweat. Someone get that loud. You'd be on top of that one. And then
Montez Sweat or Montez Sweat.
Sweet, whatever. Who else? Who else were obvious ones? Nick, you can mention Haskins. Who else was like the obvious ones that actually came and like performed? The running back from Oklahoma State looked mad good. He looked good.
The combine is trash. Let's get started.
All right, ready?
In 5, 4.
Don't you just love that beat? Woo! Welcome back to another episode of J&J Talk Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at JNJTalkSports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Press that subscribe button on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes podcast app. We are talking a ton of sports today. But first, I am your host, Justin, quote-unquote, Skywalker Palizzi. You can follow me on Twitter at EasyPalizzi_21. And joining me this week, like every other week, one of my two overly large-sized co-hosts, someone who's truly excited about the Champions League and can't wait to talk about it. Lau, how's it going, buddy?
Again, we have Hoodie Lyle here today. He's upset.
Excuse me, my bad.
He's upset.
We didn't get the memo.
He's upset, and that's all I want to say. Usually I'm bubbly, but I'm upset.
You look like you're ready to just burst out.
Nick, are you upset?
I'm a little upset. I'm upset more so that because you're upset. You just look like you're ready to just unleash some fury. The red sweater just.
I don't feel threatened at all.
I feel the intensity.
You shouldn't feel threatened. I'm not threatening you.
So, are you foreshadowing to a Lyle Goes Wild later on today?
Oh yes, I just actually it's in the outline. I just threw it in there.
And
Beautiful.
And I mean, Lyle did such a great job introducing our other co-host. Nick, how are you doing today?
I wanted to mention that. Why don't I ever get introduced as the first overly large size co-host?
We might have to switch it up.
Why do I need to be second all the time?
Lyle hasn't done a good job transitioning, so I think the seat's going to be up for grabs. Nick, are we going to be blessed with a pick 2 this evening?
I wasn't counting on it, but I can squeeze you guys in a little something.
Awesome.
From the bank.
Sounds good. Lyle, you want to get us going here with our first segment? And even though it's worldwide news, we are going to be covering a lot of different things here. But don't be shocked to hear us talk heavily about baseball in this segment. Lyle?
Yes. So first thing we're talking about is the most popular sport in the world, soccer. first things first, MLS is back. Yes, Lyle, you're a resident season ticket holder of the Red Bulls. The first games have been played. The New York, New Jersey Red Bulls drew in their first game away at Columbus with a depleted squad. Right now, they are also in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League, where unfortunately they lost at home 2-0 to Santos, the Mexico team. Other than that, you'll be getting a lot of MLS reports. I'm going to be doing some live stuff on our Instagram because I will be at almost every home game this season. You want to see Zlatan? You've got some Zlatan. That's really the only person that matters.
Real quick question: Do
Yes.
we really call it the New York, New Jersey Red Bull?
So
Or is that just a thing within the fans?
No, so originally before they became the Red Bulls, they were the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars, and that's when I started following them. So it's just ingrained in my psyche. I'm a real New York soccer fan.
Yo, hashtag you're learning something new today.
Hashtag ding. But we're gonna get into MLS further down the line once more games are happening. But we want to talk about some Champions League huge games. Firstly, down goes the three-time champions, the three-time defending champions, Real Madrid, to a former titan of European soccer.
No 4-peat this year.
Yeah, no 4-peat this year. Ajax, again, very young team. A lot of players are not going to be there next year, but they went into the Bernabeu and they took care of business. It was a spanking. Real Madrid, they went in arrogant. Sergio Ramos purposely got a yellow card to miss this game so he could play in the next round. And Real Madrid just got absolutely dominated. Absolutely dominated. And it's super satisfying because I love the successful teams, but Real Madrid needed to reboot and reload, and they didn't do that this year, and now they're paying the price. Expect that team to get blown up. The next game where, Dortmund got crushed. It is what it is. The other two games today, Porto squeaks by Roma.
Yep.
Squeaks by them on a VAR penalty at the end of the game. It was a penalty. It was the right call. And Porto, with Pepe and Iker Casillas, former Real Madrid stalwarts, are into the round of 8.
Roma scored on a penalty by De Rossi, no?
Correct.
Yeah.
But then Porto did come back. Again, beautiful game. But the big game for today is Real Madrid with 10 of their first team starters injured or suspended, coming back against PSG. It just blows my mind. This is the third year in a row PSG gets knocked out in the round of 16. The second year in a row where they get knocked out when the other team comes back in their place. First, Barcelona came back and scored like 6 goals. Now, a depleted Manchester United team with children, 17-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Telling me that team is going to beat Silva, Marquinhos, Verratti, Mbappe? It just blows my mind that PSG do not have the mental fortitude to get through it.
And we talked a little bit about this before we started recording here. And I mentioned how Manchester United played well, right? And you said like they didn't play that well.
They played
PSG beat themselves. Exactly. That's exactly what I was just about to say. But Man U did the things that they needed to do. They scored the goals necessary to win. Lukaku started the game off right from them by scoring the first goal. They did the things that were necessary to win, but nonetheless, PSG did beat themselves.
Yeah, for all the crap we've given Lukaku, like not on this podcast, but in general in life, he was clinical today. Mbappe wasn't.
Right.
Buffon made a mistake. De Gea didn't make a mistake. What are you going to do?
We had some huge news that happened recently in the world of baseball. We are actually about a week and a half, 2 weeks from the start of the season.
What was that segue?
What?
What was that segue?
I was trying to just get him going.
You gotta give it like a second to breathe and then jump in.
Wait, what's this Overwatch thing you put? I just saw that.
I was going to mention something really quickly about a New York team in Overwatch.
Oh,
it's worldwide news, right?
Do that after baseball then, because we're mentioning the Yankees.
Okay, So I would just
I didn't
recommend,
even.
like, if you're going to jump into a new topic, give it a quick pause, or like say we're jumping into baseball,
All right.
because that's weird.
What was I saying?
Just saying, the
And
other
then
side,
I started going,
on the other side of the
big news
world,
is baseball. I'm just like, what?
Overwatch. Put after Yankees.
I moved out the end of baseball.
Okay.
just saying, the other side of the world.
Yeah, something like give it a segue.
Something entertaining, something funny.
All right.
Something about my dick.
Mention Lao stand-up comedy. Boom, boom.
All right. All right. So going, I don't even know how to introduce it.
Welcome
it
back.
came-
We had a brief intermission because
All right.
Justin's terrible at segueing. Segueing? Segways? Segueezy?
Yeah, I don't even have it recorded. The one time I don't do it, that would have been helpful.
All you have to do is just be like, the Yankees. And just like say something.
Right. Well, I'm not talking about the. Okay, anyways, all right, ready?
You should be abrupt. What are you trying to do right now? The
I'm
Overwatch
trying
part?
to remember how I transitioned, what the words I said. I don't want to.
I can just cut in and say,
from
"Oh,
soccer.
you're gonna introduce the
All right,
Overwatch?"
anyways,
I can
no,
I can just jump in and say something.
No, we're gonna do that after Overwatch. Is I lied. You didn't even put it.
I put it at the end of baseball.
No, you didn't.
Oh, sorry, I can't read. You're right.
All right. Moving on to another sport, one which requires a bat. We're going to talk about some baseball because there has been a lot of news going around in the baseball world. Machado finally signs 10-year contract for $300 million with the San Diego Padres. Damn, that's a lot of dough right there. What do you guys think?
Now you might not know this, but signing a contract requires a pen, so he can swing the bat for lots of money.
But
See, this is bringing me back to the Lyle stand-up comedy days. He was getting a lot of entertainment from crickets.
Oh, the good Buffalo days where he posted up his stand-up on YouTube. You guys may want to go ahead and check that out.
Vintage Lyle.
That forever. It's not funny. But speaking of things that aren't funny, Bryce Harper then, meanwhile, decides to sign a 13-year, $330 million contract. No opt-outs.
No
straight
clause.
Cash. $5 million more than the Stanton contract. But how do you feel about this signing?
That blows my mind.
The Bryce one's a little bit more shocking because I felt like between the two of them, I knew he'd probably get more money. He's the sexier name. He's the sexier player. He's the one that's compared to Trout, despite how great Machado can be. But no opt-outs. And he got 3 more years, but only $30 million more. I don't think $30 million more that he got were worth the 3 years on the back end of his career.
Salary. Machado was making an average salary a little bit less than $5 million more. And Bryce Harper went for a place of security. Whatever. Good for him.
Are we shocked? Yeah, are we shocked that Bryce Harper ultimately chose the Phillies over all the other options? Because apparently the Dodgers offered him less years, but like a lot more money per year.
He wanted to go home, I guess. Well, no, he's from Vegas, but he liked Philly for some reason, and he wanted job security. So good for him. Secure your bag, bro.
Arenado also signed an extension with the Rockies. Don't have the numbers on that. The Yankees are making a lot of headlines right now, and for all the wrong reasons. So the first thing that happened was Hicks was signed to an extension for 7 years for $70 million. And the issue that was going around was basically, okay, the Yankees didn't want to sign Machado or Bryce to a 10-year deal and pay them when they were 36 to 37 years old, but they're going to pay Aaron Hicks, a 29-year-old, for the next 7 years to the age of him being 36. I mean, obviously, it's a $7 million deal. It's way less than what you would have gotten a Bryce Harper for. But what are your thoughts about us re-signing Hicks to a 7-year, $70 million extension?
I think it's a little long line signing. Again, it's 10 million cap hit a year. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's not a huge deal. I think it's a safe wager they're placing on him. Yes, he's right now out with back spasms, but I think I don't mind it.
Lyle, leave. I'm gonna leave and then I'm gonna reinvite you.
Why?
Because you're lagging a lot.
Yeah, he's lagging a lot, right?
Like
It's not
my
just me.
video or
No, it's
your
just
audio,
your voice,
video, everything.
Your audio.
You're cutting out.
fuck.
What a virgin.
All right. Let's just go right back into it. Okay. And more bad news. Well, and I wouldn't call it bad news because the Hicks signing is a bad news, but bad news in the sense that many of us wanted a Machado or Bryce Harper this season. Severino has been shut down for 2 weeks. He's not going to be the opening day starter for the New York Yankees in the 2019 season. CC Sabathia has also hit the DL to start the season, and it just seems as though Cashman is just making more and more of a fool of himself because of the fact that he didn't go on and try to get Corbin. And he did make a move for James Paxton, who has never pitched more than 150 innings in a season. Well, I know this sets back the Yankees. I wouldn't say a ton because the Yankees are being careful with Sevy. It's just been inflammation in the shoulder, which is why they put him on the DL. But is this going to be something that's going to be ongoing all year? You think it's just a little bump in the road?
I think it's a bump in the road. Again, a lot of pitchers get injured at the beginning of the season because they ramp up too quickly. And it's not like we're bereft of pitching. We did re-sign J.A. Happ. We do Bathia, who's going to give us a solid 6. We do have Tanaka. We have a young guy we're bringing up for a couple of weeks. And if worse, we have James Paxton. And if worse comes to worst, we're looking at Keuchel. So,
well, I would love.
We'll make something happen.
That's what I was going to kind of transition to. Keuchel is some guy. It's a pitcher that we can probably get for a lot cheaper than what he was looking for beginning of the free agency. Because let's be honest, Keuchel was one of the best free agent arms out there, and he still hasn't been signed yet, and he will be signed, no doubt about it. But I think that's a guy that we can definitely go for and add some extra depth to that starting rotation because just look down from starter 1 to starter 5. We have a bunch of injury-prone pitchers. I mean, James Paxton never pitched beyond 150. Tanaka, that elbow could go out at any time. CC is on the back end of his career. App is 37 years old. So who knows? I think adding him would definitely be a big help. Ellsbury has been reportedly Ellsbury is reportedly reporting.
Ellsbury is reporting that he's got some problems.
No.
He's got some serious problems.
Ellsbury is coming back. He's reporting to the Yankees next week for the first time in nearly 2 years of baseball activity. Does he even make the roster?
He's not making my roster.
So you think the Yankees ultimately cut him? I mean, we have 2 years left, and we owe him, I believe, it's about $28 million.
No, he doesn't start.
He's not going to start. But the thing is, the Yankees aren't going to keep. The Yankees aren't going to keep more than 5 outfielders, three of which Hicks, Judge, and Stanton. Then you got Garner, who's going to be the 4th, and that 5th starter, that 5th outfielder, I mean, is going to be either Clint Frazier or Tyler Wade, a utility guy. And Clint Frazier is not someone they're just going to give up on. So unless they trade him, I really don't see how Ellsbury can even make the opening day roster. But I guess we'll have to see. This hurts the Yankees front office, because now they can't claim insurance on him for the 2019 season. But this is something that the Yankees shot themselves in the foot with when they decided not to give the long money to Cano and decided to give the money to Ellsbury. Lyle, what is this fascinating thing you wanted to mention regarding a New York team in the Overwatch League?
really quickly, esports are sports now. If you didn't catch all of ESPN, if you don't
Of course they are.
follow the news, they're sports. One of the games I personally enjoy is Overwatch. I stream it on Wednesdays. I love tabletop. But one of the reasons I'm super hyped is because New York has a team called the New York Excelsior. We should have won the entire thing last year. We got upset by Philly. We're undefeated so far in the first leg of this season. We're crushing it. And I'm just super hyped. I just want to let people know New York is crushing it in esports as well as regular sports in my mind.
In your mind was a key was a key
Well,
phrase.
New York non-esports are a little right now, but we'll make it back.
Well, we can
And
now
on that
segue.
note, speaking of New York,
Lie,
we're
you think
about not New York because
you're still
we're
lagging.
in the month of March. We'll see how
Well,
it comes out.
that was a bad lag.
All right. Lie, you're lagging.
I don't know what to do.
for some reason.
This has been
I don't
happening
know what to do
to me
either.
all night and everything I've done.
All right. Let's just.
Damn, porn quality must be terrible.
All right.
Yeah, I guess. No, we'll see how it comes out because like I've lagged before when you've recorded and it sounds fine coming out.
All right. Ready? Okay.
So let's continue.
Fellas,
After you said Overwatch.
Fellas, we are finally in the madness that is March. March Madness. The 18th is
18th. It's the 19th, isn't it?
It's the 8th. No, it starts the 18th. That's the
Yeah, we're out of sorts today.
conference. All right. Fellas, the madness that is March is finally here. March Madness conference tournaments start within the next 2 weeks on the 18th of March. We have the rankings out right now. The top 4 seeds, according to the current ESPN bracketology: Virginia, Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Duke, with UNC being the highest 2 seed thus far. Some great notable mentions: Lyle, your alma mater, Buffalo, currently in the East bracket as a 6th seed. Pretty good. And in the West, and in the West, we have Syracuse, who is actually a 9th seed. So they have actually fallen while Buffalo has risen. And those are just some noticeable teams. I would actually be very shocked if Syracuse and Buffalo do not make the tournament. But the biggest talk of college basketball right now, and Nick, I'll swing it over to you here first, is Zion Williamson and Duke. Duke barely got out alive against Wake Forest, winning by 1 point. Zion has missed 4 straight games. He's not going to play Saturday in the season finale for Duke. Coach K has already came out and said that he'll be back for the tournament next week. Well, within the next week and a half. What's to expect of Duke, Nick, if Zion doesn't get healthy?
If Zion doesn't play, I'm looking at a possible early bounce from the tournament.
And what's early? What's early to you?
I would say like a second round knockout.
Wow. So not even making it to the Sweet 16.
If they go against a competent team, yeah. Because right now they're looking at, if without a Zion, they're looking at not even a first place, like a number 1 ranked position in the tournament.
No, I think they'll be the number 1 rank. Actually, you know what? You're right. Actually, because
that changes the whole dynamic of the tournament.
They play UNC on Saturday, so
which is not gonna. It's gonna be a very tough game.
So we'll see what happens in the tournament. But if the tournament didn't exist, and whoever wins that game on Saturday basically gets that number 1 seed.
Yeah, I see that. And to be honest, without Zion in the game, what's his average? Like 26-8, 26-9, and his inside defending. Duke looks exposed. Granted, RJ Barrett has been having stellar performances. Cam Reddish also playing very well, but it's just not enough. Without Zion Williamson, that team looks exposed.
So Barrett actually has played pretty well. Cam Reddish is actually the one I'm actually a little bit disappointed in, because I felt like, and Lyle, maybe you agree with me here, I feel like Cam Reddish hasn't really stepped up to the point where we felt like, okay, now we're going to see what Cam Reddish is. I mean, in my opinion, he hasn't performed that well. He's played better of late without Zion, but he hasn't been the top 5 player that we thought he would be.
I mean, with Duke almost lost to an awful Wake Forest
team.
So, like, yeah, they RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish have not performed where they need to perform because they're top 5 recruits and look like garbage.
Yeah, honestly, without Zion Williamson, the things are not looking promising for Duke.
Yeah, so I want to ask a question here now regarding Zion. If he does not play another game for the rest of the season, is he still a number 1 pick?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Because it's not a serious injury. If he does sit, it's not going to be because of the injury. It's because he wants to prevent further injury or re-injury. The high floor is still there. The even higher ceiling is still there. Zion Williamson is a once in a generation type talent, and is gonna definitely go number 1.
Does he at least come back for the tournament? And by the tournament, I mean the actual big one, not the conference tournament.
If he loves the game of basketball, he does. If he's a competitor, he does. If he's me, he does. He should be back.
Let's. I'm very upset that you aren't Zion because then, like, what are we doing here? We need to go to the show.
NBA streets, baby.
So speaking of college sports, let's mention college football for a brief second here. The odds for the Heisman Trophy winner for next year, the 2019 college football season, the top 2 guys, of course, we all knew it was coming. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. I used to be able to say his name too.
The Rock. If we know you're listening. If you're here, please give this kid some lessons on how to pronounce Hawaiian names, please.
Tua is a 5-3 odds to win it, while Trevor Lawrence is a 3-1 odds. Gentlemen, does this sound about right, or should they be pretty much dead even?
Yeah, it's close enough.
So you believe Tua should be the favorite?
Well, yeah, I do. Because after watching the video body someone during a rec basketball game, I lost all respect for him because he's not playing against stellar athletes and he's just throwing some kid to the ground because he set a pick on him. I don't like Lawrence. This is a purely emotional thing. I have no facts or data to back this up.
It's a purely biased assessment here, but
this is a purely after watching that video of Lawrence, I don't think Lawrence is a nice guy. So I want Tua to win.
No, Trevor Lawrence can have a season like he did at that national title game. He's looking at an easy Heisman award.
Ooh, a little fight from Nick about Lawrence there, Lyle. So, I mean, I tend to agree with the Tua side because I do think he's the more seasoned player, and I think we need to see more from Lawrence. But I think if Lawrence comes out firing like next season,
if he comes out
winning the national championship, exactly,
continuing with how he left off last season, he's a shoo-in.
Last thing on worldwide news we're going to discuss before we get into the NFL, which is going to be a great segment on this episode. John Jones defended his title again against Anthony Smith in the UFC for light heavyweight, I believe, championship.
Yep.
There was a controversial knee that John Jones hit through in the 4th round while Anthony Smith was on the ground. The ref had determined that it was intentional. After reviewing, if you take closer looks, it kind of looks as though John Jones went to go knee the body, and it was just a movement of the head that kind of made it kind of like in the NFL where you're going for a hit for the body, but the ball carrier ducks down, and then all of a sudden it's a head-to-head, and the defender gets fined a week later. Anthony Smith.
Well, John Jones lost points on that.
So he lost 2 points. He still won the round 10-8. He lost 2 points, so he ended up winning the round basically 8-8. That's a win for me. I mean, that's a win if you ask me. To lose 2 points and still tie the round. But what Anthony Smith did goes beyond things that you can't even imagine in sports. The ref asked him, do you want to take the disqualification and the win? Basically, can you fight? If you feel like you can't fight and you're dazed, then he gets disqualified and he wins and he gets the championship belt by disqualification. He told the ref, no. Give me 2 minutes, and I'm going to go back out there. What do you guys think about that?
Stupid. Stupid. You're not going to beat one of the greatest fighters to have ever entered the octagon.
I mean, for the dub, maybe not the greatest idea. For the brand, perfect idea.
He gets a rematch 100% and gets another nice paycheck at the end of that,
Yeah.
because there's no way in hell that UFC is not going to give Jones
You don't know if he's gonna get a rematch. He should never. He should have never been in the fight in the first place.
No, but
No.
not even.
But Jones
for the
will get the
rematch,
rematch to get his belt back.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, 100%.
But not even for the rematch. The UFC and MMA is based on toughness and not taking the easy way. What he did for his brand was brilliant.
Yep.
And that's all that matters, building your brand, because you're going to take punches to the face for so many years. You need to have your fallback, which is your brand. And he's got that now.
Logo, don't take the easy way out. Earn everything.
Yeah, you guys.
Blood, not tears.
You guys couldn't have said it any better, which is true. Not taking DQ definitely helps the brand of the UFC.
Speaking of, we should make some T-shirts. We should make some T-shirts and have him be our brand manager, be our brand ambassador.
We're gonna have to copyright that.
I got an idea. I will fight the UFC for JNJTalkSports.
I will be on your corner every step of the way.
And I will be in the stands
all
laughing.
5 seconds.
I will have the white flag ready. The white flag will be in my hand, ready after the first ding of the bell.
Let's go ahead and move on to our first topic of the night, the NFL. And I just want to mention the first thing on this short list here pretty quickly, because it's just funny because it's the Patriots. But the situation that Robert Kraft has put himself into this offseason has been nothing short of hilarious from their embarrassment part, but also unfortunate of what was revealed about the salon that he had went to. Being that you guys are Jets fans, on the humiliation side of it,
it was great. It was great. We were on our way back from Atlantic City when we heard this news. I was just in the back of your car, just dying laughing.
Yeah, we just kept.
Oh my God, Robert Kraft got caught getting a rubber tug. It was amazing. It was amazing.
They're cheaters. They're liars. They break the law.
We're surprised he didn't get away with this.
They by doing it in this way, they borderline support human trafficking. The Patriots should be disbanded, should be sold off to a new owner, and moved
all
to
the rings
Mexico
and all the rings should be taken away.
They should take all the championships and split it. They should take all the championships and split it right down the middle.
In the AFC,
three for the Jets, 3 for the Giants.
In the AFC East.
Void them. Those seasons never happened.
And all those rings they got should go to all the girls. All the girls in those.
They should be sold off, and then the money for that.
The proceeds. Proceeds should go to
a non-profit that investigates human trafficking. Again, I'm overreacting, but at the same time, they're cheaters, liars, murderers,
and now traffickers.
There is a pattern of wanton disregard for the legal system and the NFL, and I'm tired of it.
Does Robert Kraft receive a punishment bigger than the embarrassment that he has endured since this event occurred?
I mean, honestly, the max fine he can get is $500,000, I believe.
And he could be suspended.
And that's like a drop in the water.
He could be asked not to show up to the stadium for a whole year. But is that enough?
He's gonna watch it in his mansion.
He's gonna build a mansion blimp and just hover over the Gillette Stadium watching games.
Right. So that's why that was
his reputation has taken a stain, but he has enough money, he's enough power, he's already built the clout that he doesn't. His reputation could take this hit, and him and Tom Brady and all them could keep cheating to victories.
That was the point I was trying to get at. Basically, the embarrassment that he's getting now because of all this going down. That there's nothing that the NFL is going to do that he's feel like is going to be a much bigger punishment. Le'Veon Bell, my man, number 26, my favorite running back and player in the NFL currently, is finally released and free from the chains of Pittsburgh. He is now officially a free agent, and he's expecting to get paid, fellas. Where do we see him landing in 2019? And yes, we know the obvious answer is the Jets. But I want to know why, Nick, you think the Jets are a good landing spot for my boy Lev Bell.
I think the best place for Le'Veon Bell to go is the big green. Not just gangrene. not the Jets specifically per se,
There's only one
but
big
the
team in New York,
green.
and that's Big Blue.
Oh lordy lord. Oh
Oh
lord.
Lord, God save his soul.
What's we gonna do? No, but honestly, I think the Jets are one of the front runners to get Le'Veon Bell. It's not even. I don't even think it's about like contenders. I don't think it's about players, although that plays somewhat of a role here or there. I think it's more so where the money is, and the money is behind the Jets, and the money, our second team, I think, can make a run for it if they believe that their running back core isn't good enough. Are the Colts?
Do the Jets overpay though? Because essentially Bell is asking for overpaid money. Like whether if he gets the money he's looking for and even close to it, even if he gets Todd Gurley money, I mean, you can say he's overpaid. Are the Jets willing to do that, Lyle?
I wouldn't
Are
be
the Jets
surprised.
going to overpay him for a few years? Yes, they are willing to overpay him.
So you're looking at a what? 4-year, 50 million, probably guaranteed, but he probably gets what?
40
65,
guaranteed.
40
No,
guaranteed. You think he gets 40
he get
guaranteed?
40 in 4 years. He's going to get 10 million a year guaranteed, easy. Here's
So
the thing.
40 million guarantee, was it worth it to sit out the season?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What did he lose out on last year? Wasn't it
14 and a half. Had he played the whole season, though, who knows if he gets hurt and never plays a down football again.
And then he never. This guaranteed money trumps all. 40 wins every time.
So
fair enough?
So if the Jets, and now the Jets have been ruled out, it was about 2 hours ago. I wrote it in the chat that they are no longer in for Antonio Brown, which I like that move for them if they do get Le'Veon Bell. Because I do think they should get one of the two, because I think having a weapon like an AB or either a Le'Veon Bell helps with the development of the young quarterback in Sam Darnold, because you want him to have weapons to see what he has. You can't keep throwing out Robbie Anderson and whoever else you guys have, Jermaine Kearse catching balls for him. No, you need to get him a serious weaponry in order to succeed in the NFL, whether that be a receiver like AB or a top running back like Bell, who can bring defenders up and allow him to pass the ball over the top. Lau, you have okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
So because you wanted to say something already? Okay.
Yeah. No, basically,
Lau, you have here that the Kansas City Chiefs are considering Le'Veon Bell. What are your thoughts about that?
I think the Kansas City Chiefs would be a perfect fit for Le'Veon Bell. They can finagle cap room. There are ways, because if once they get rid of D Ford, because they had a franchise him, but they're going to get rid of him. They are trying to trade him because he doesn't fit the new defensive scheme. They have the money to give to Bell to create the trifecta of Tyreek, Le'Veon, and Mahomes. Yes.
You're gonna leave out Travis Kelce. You
I'm gonna
could
leave out
make that
Travis
quad. You could make out a quadfecta.
No, I don't do quads.
You are
I don't-
disrespectful. I do not want to speak to you ever again.
I don't think the Jets. I don't think the Chiefs are serious contenders to get Bell, especially because after you see the Bell video of him being so excited, like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign with the Chiefs. I'm gonna sign." I don't think he would do that if there was serious interest between both parties.
So Le'Veon Bell is hanging out today with the Chiefs' Chris Jones, just kicking it today, as tweeted by Sims and Lefko. Also on the Twitterverse is Le'Veon Bell lobbying a bunch of safeties to squat up at a team. Le'Veon Bell is wild in terms of trolling people, because, like, why are you going to tweet at 4 safeties? What are they going to do for your team?
He's going to the Jets. Congratulations, guys. It's not official yet, but it will be soon. Enjoy him. I would never be able to wear a Le'Veon Bell jersey ever again because of this. But
later,
I digress. Transitioning into Landon Collins, and boy, was this a stupid move by the Giants to let a 25-year-old top 5 at worst safety in the league, someone who, if you franchise tag, you'll be paying him $12 million a year, which is less than what you would get if you had re-signed him. The Giants decided to let go Landon Collins, and I personally think one of the best suitors for Collins And the reason why I'm mentioning this first is because Lau was just talking about them is the Kansas City Chiefs. They need to revamp that secondary. That secondary is horrible. They can't continue to score 40 plus. I mean, they can probably continue to score 35, 40 plus points a game and be a top team, if not the top team in the AFC next year. But you need secondary help. Kyle Fuller is not going to just be able to hold down that secondary by himself as a corner. He needs some safety help behind him. I think Collins is a perfect fit there. I have another team that I think is a perfect fit for Collins, but I'll let you two go first. Nick, what are one of your suitors for Collins for the 2019 free agency class?
I have two teams I think he could fit very well with, or that have a dire need for him. One being the Indianapolis Colts. They revamped that offensive line. They're doing a lot of good things on the offensive side of the ball. They can use a little more help on the defensive side, and this is a team that can contend with the proper acquisitions in the free agency, Landon Collins being one of them. Another team who I also believe are a couple pieces away from a playoff run, who just gave up Haha Clinton-Dix in a trade last year, foreshadowing to the Packers. I think the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, I know Lyle's going to give me shit about he doesn't like Aaron Rodgers. He thinks that Aaron Rodgers isn't up to the task anymore. But I believe that if you can give a couple pieces on that defense, including a Landon Collins, maybe a one or two pieces more on the offense, he needs another receiver or so. I think the Packers are another great fit for Landon Collins, who can also make a push going into the postseason.
On the Aaron Rodgers thing, I've always said Aaron Rodgers is great, but the rest of the team is bereft of talent. There's no one else. But I do have one thing to say about this whole Landon Collins thing and paying a safety $15 million a year. Why? Why would you do that? Let me just read off the top safeties. Landon Collins, 25. Adrian Amos, pretty good season, 26. Earl Thomas is out there. You know what you're going to get with him. HaHa Clinton-Dix is available. LaMarcus Joyner, Eric Waddell, Anthony Harris, Clayton Gay. This flew under the radar this year. I believe Tyrann Mathieu is also a free agent.
The honey badger. I was waiting for you to say him.
Why are you going to spend $15 million on a safety unless he's literally the last piece you need to get a Super Bowl? So you want to spend $15 million. He's not going to be worth it for any team.
Is he not the best safety on the market? Earl Thomas is 29 years old.
Sure.
There's no way Earl Thomas is even touching the type of money that Collins is going to be touching. Let me explain. Then
why are you going to sign Landon Collins? So if you're any team, why are you signing a safety for $15 million?
Chiefs, you sign him. You have Mahomes for 5 more years that you don't have to worry about paying for him. The Packers have Rodgers, who only has 2 to 3 years left. You go ahead and sign him if he's going to help you win. Now, I personally think someone like Collins should go to the Cowboys because the Cowboys need a safety and they're willing to pay whatever it takes to get a safety. The thing is, Earl Thomas makes a lot more sense for the Cowboys because the Cowboys aren't trying to commit 4 to 5 years for a safety. Okay,
exactly.
Thomas will go ahead and sign a 2-3 year contract. Probably get less money than Collins, but at least he'll get the guarantee of the 2 to 3 years that the Cowboys will give him. But if the Cowboys are smart, they better off throwing that money at Collins because he's 25 years old. You can have a top 5 safety for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but why not sign LaMarcus Joyner for less? Who's a very, very good safety. What I'm saying is Landon Collins is the best safety in free agency. There's not a doubt. I just don't think teams are going to realize, hey, why am I going to spend $15 for an exceptional player when I could pay $9 million for a very good player and then bolster my offensive line or bolster another section of my team? I don't think there's going to be as big of a market with contenders for Landon Collins. I think he's going to end up on some crap team.
You know what's funny?
That's my prediction. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny? I was actually thinking that like when I wrote this little part right here of the NFL segment for us to discuss, I actually told myself like I can actually see him going to a team where he'll get, $15 million a year, he'll get, a $45 million deal, whatever the case may be, but he'll be on like the Redskins or the Dolphins or something like that, a team that's not going to be competing. But I do think he ends up going to a contender because he is a talented safety at a very young age where you can bite a big salary towards the back end of that contract, knowing that he'll still be young. We're going to move on here to the NFL Combine. It was this past weekend. It was impressive, fellas. I mean, I didn't get to watch much of it because I was on vacation. A little bragging rights there, but I did get to see some highlights of a lot of players, and it's like you look at the training that these athletes go through nowadays for the NFL draft. It's crazy how much in shape and how fast these athletes are just running, and it goes beyond words. But let's get into it. I want to talk about some standouts from the combine, some players who saw their stock rise because of how impressive they were in the NFL combine. Nick, who's the one guy you want to talk about?
All right, beyond all the major standouts that everybody knows, like the Dwayne Haskins, players such like that. One player I want to mention, a little, still possibly a top 10, top 15 pick. I want to mention Rashawn Gary from Michigan, the defensive end. He's about 6'5", close to 280 pounds. He bench pressed about 27 to 30 reps. Granted, he's a defensive lineman, but he ran a 4.59 40. The guy is
Damn.
6'5", 280 pounds, and he's running like a running back. Can you imagine the velocity, just the pure monstrous strength of this guy if he hits you running at 4.5, 4.59? It just mind boggles me. You always gotta give. I always give love to the big man, and that's just one of my standouts. Lau is about to give a nice big man some love. So Lau, please
Gotta give the
give
big
the
man.
possible future Jets first round pick some love.
So this is a man who is seen as one of the elite talents, definitely a top fiver. With this combine performance, he put himself in the top twoer. Him, Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa are going to be the gems of this draft class. And he put in as a let me just give you how big this man is. 6'3", 303 pounds. Man ran a 4.83. That is that is the fastest defensive lineman combine since uh, honestly 2004. Tank Johnson ran a 4.69. Like, this dude had production in college, and he put up a monster workout. I'm excited if we don't trade down, which we'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure. If we don't trade down, I'm excited to welcome his family, and I can't wait to see his gloriousness just destroy Tom Brady and all of his illegalities. Maybe he'll deflate Tom Brady's balls.
Puns. Very punny, Lyle.
The guy I want to mention here pretty quickly was Noah Fant. This guy he saw, he conquered the NFL draft, the NFL combine. His counterpart, TJ Hawkinsack from Iowa, is supposed to be the best
That's supposed to be a
tight
higher
end
draft
coming
pick.
out. Yeah, a higher tight end, and
He still
has come
may
to the
be
conversation as
the
the
higher
first
pick,
pair. Right, but he has now made noise as possibly making this the first tight end duel, the first tight end tandem from college to be drafted in the first round. Listen to Noah Fant's, listen to his numbers. Okay, he listed in at 6'4", 249 pounds. He ran a tight end best 4.540. He had a tight end best 39.5-inch vertical. He had a tight end best 10 feet and 7 inches broad jump. Do you know what it is to do 10 feet broad jump? There's wide receivers and running backs and defensive backs that can't even do that. He had a tight end best 3-cone drill with 6.81. He had the third best tight end short shuttle with 4.22. And then he ran the best 60-yard shuttle with 11.49. Basically, he scored number one in all categories for tight ends, which was ridiculous. And I think he definitely made his stock rise in this draft. And he'll probably come in the back end of the first round where teams like the Patriots will probably be looking for a tight end to replace Gronk next year, whether he retires or not. Draft stock fallen.
Sorry, before
But
we get there,
before,
I misspoke earlier. Quinn and Williams.
time out, time out, time out. Wait.
What?
Yo,
What?
did you hear that, Nick?
No.
Him saying that he misspoke. I heard it.
No. He was
Oh, I
just
hear.
live
I hear the
MLB.
echo. No, I hear echo now. I can hear my
Oh,
voice.
okay. Wait. So, Lyle, when did you start speaking? When I finished?
Wait, right before you were going to get into the draft stock
The
value.
draft stock
Okay,
fell. Yeah.
which is good because I want to mention the other players. Okay, real quick. So, some notable mentions.
Dwayne Haskins and
Well,
DK
the Dwayne
Metcalf and all
Haskins.
that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, right. Yeah, well, I was getting into. All right, ready? Some notable mentions who also had amazing NFL combines. Paris Campbell, wide receiver for Ohio State, ran the third fastest 40, looked tremendous while running the shuttle drills and route runnings when catching passes. Also had 12 touchdowns this past season, so he definitely had his stock rise. Kyler Murray, we didn't get to mention it, but he listed it as 5'10". I believe it was 204, 208 pounds. Apparently, he was slightly a few inches taller than Russell Wilson, but shorter than Baker, but had bigger hands than Baker. Regardless, whatever the case may be, all the questions about his size were answered, and there is no more speculation about that. Nick, is there a notable mention that you want to throw out there?
DK Metcalf. He's just a freak of nature.
Oh yeah, how can we forget about him? Yeah, this guy just came in. I mean,
nature.
He actually looks really bad in the agility drills, though. Like he looked pretty slow when making cuts. But
well, apparently he wasn't going
full
full speed.
Well, but he went full speed for the 40-yard dash. That's for sure. Lyle,
Anyways,
anybody you want to mention?
No, I just need to make a quick correction on an earlier statement. Quentin Williams ran the fastest 40 time for a lineman over 300 pounds. My apologies. And let's move on from that. And speaking of moving on,
fraud Lyle strikes again.
Falling. Let's talk about draft stock falling. No, fraud would have kept pushing it without correcting himself. But speaking of draft stock falling, my draft stock falling is UB's own Tyree Jackson. This is a man who almost murdered several receivers during the shuttle drill. He was very accurate in a lot of his passes, and at 6'7", 249, he ran a 4.59, which is the second fastest among all QBs, and it's the seventh fastest in the past 5 years. Athletically, he is fantastic, but people are worried that he's way too raw. Again, he's 6'7". Kurt Warner said that the whole idea is accuracy is compact in the same movement, but he has a very long throwing motion. So he's raw. I think he went from a 5th rounder down to a 7th rounder. He would be a project Where do I see him going? I see he's perfect for Oakland because John Gruden loves projects. But I think he went from a 5th rounder to a 7th rounder. And yeah, that's my draft.
I actually slightly disagree with you, and I know this is your boy, you would know more, but I actually think Jackson had a pretty impressive combine. As you said, he showed accuracy, and his size is tremendous. Not only that, but he does also show speed and the elusiveness in the pocket. The thing with Jackson is that Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, these guys, these other quarterbacks after the Murray and Haskins, no one really kind of broke out. And I think that's where Jackson kind of didn't really lose any ground. I still think he's in that 5th to 6th round range, though. I don't think he falls down to the 7th. Nick, any player you want to mention about their draft stock falling?
Yeah, I want to mention a running back who last season had about 1,100 yards rushing. This was his chance to show his talent, show his skill set. Speaking of Elijah Holyfield, running back out of Georgia.
Nice pick.
Now this kid had an opportunity to show what he was really all about, but he came out in this 40 and blew it. He stunk. He ran a 4.78 40, which ranked him 22nd out of 23 running backs who ran the 40-yard dash. And the only player that he did beat was Wisconsin fullback Alec Ingold.
That's
the only player that he beat was a fullback. it was just not a good showing for him. Not an opportunity for him to raise his stock. Kind of had a counterproductive route that way.
Yeah, he ran pretty well in the shuttle drill, so it shows that he's quick in small spaces.
Lateral movement, yeah.
Nick, you know what his numbers would have reminded me of?
Ooh.
A combine that I would do.
Yeah, I
Productive running
guess.
back who's not small but not the strongest, breaks a lot of weak tackles, not the fastest, but it's very quick. And I feel like if I was to be in the NFL combine, I wouldn't run a fast 40. Probably not, but I probably dominate the speed drills because I'm pretty quick in small spaces because I'm short. But I feel like that's kind of like the NFL combine I would have had. But I agree with you there. Holyfield was on my short list of people to discuss here. He definitely had his stock fell. Now, there's been plenty of running backs who ran slow 40 times and succeeded in the NFL. There's been even people like Jerry Rice, possibly the greatest wide receiver of all time, who ran a slow 40 times. So it's possible, but let's see if that can transition to the NFL. One person that I have their stock falling is Lil Jordan Humphreys. He just has the most cutest little name in the world. He plays wide receiver for Texas. He was coming out as possibly the best slot receiver in the draft, but he didn't run a good 40 time. He wasn't quick enough in the shuttles. And apparently, now I didn't see this for myself, but I read it. Apparently, he missed a lot of passes down the field when quarterbacks would throw it. Not because the quarterbacks were overthrowing it, but just because he looked so slow and catching up to the ball. So his stock definitely fell. He went from being a second to third rounder to possibly falling down all the way to the 5th and 6th round, especially with guys like Parrish, who I mentioned before from Ohio State, has his stock rising until about the 2nd round, and Boykin, wide receiver from Notre Dame, who also is going to be a higher wide receiver drafted ahead of Humphrey. So I think his stock fell as well. Well, it's time, the moment you all been waiting for. I'm very excited about it. It has been done in a while. Wild. Well, let's just go for it, right, Lyle? Let's get wild.
Let's get wild. Before I get wild, I'm actually going to move my microphone up to my face. There it is. Thank you. Just kidding. So we move this. So there's so many things to go wild about. VAR and FIFA, basketball being basketball. But I'm going to have to do this because I'm just genuinely disgusted by what's happening in sports media. Now, you look at me, Nick, and Justin, and you know where our opinions are coming from. You know they're from the heart, from what we read. We gather all the information and we give you our most unimpeded opinion. And when I say unimpeded, I mean there's no sponsor telling us you have to say it like this. There's no one manicuring our message. Now, I'm going to take a direct shot right now at two organizations, ESPN and The Athletic. That's right. I'm coming after both y'all. Here's why. ESPN, you're supposed to be the worldwide leader in unbiased sports reporting. And I'm not talking about like political sports reporting. I'm talking about this are the facts. This is what's happening in sports. These are our opinions. So be it. But how are you going to have an unbiased report on Kevin Durant when you have a 10-part series about Kevin Durant as part of your ESPN Plus push? You need to make him look as pretty as possible and as likable as possible to push your brand. So how am I going to trust your reporting on Kevin Durant? Moving forward on that same aspect, one of your Sunday Night Baseball analysts is now a special advisor to the Mets. How am I going to trust anything that is reported on the Mets is not manicured by analysts in baseball? I'm looking for unmanicured reporting. Yes, sometimes it's going to get ugly, but what you're doing is you're so cozied up to certain leagues that you will pretty up everything. And it's nauseating. This brings me to Shams Chabria and The Athletic. Derrick Rose was under investigation for a rape. How did The Athletic cover it? They were busy doing a 15-part series on Derrick Rose's life from beginning to the big injuries to where he is now on his comeback tour. So they gave him a fluff piece because they couldn't jeopardize all the capital they put into his documentary. It's disgusting. Because I'm here for unbiased sports reporting. If you're going to cozy up, I want disclaimers. We paid Derrick Rose X, Y, and Z. We have this X, Y, and Z, which may affect our reporting. Where am I going to get unmanicured stuff? I understand that at the ESPN and TNT, they have a deal with the NBA, 4.7 million, dramatize things a little bit more. But when you go in that deep into weaving your webs together, you're not going to report the whole story. If I'm a sports viewer, I'll watch ESPN, I'll listen to The Athletic, but I'd come to people like us because at least you're going to get an unfettered opinion and an unmanicured story out of us because we don't have these ties. Again, I would love to know some of these people, but I would never put my journalistic integrity on the line for a quick buck like ESPN and The Athletic are doing. Again, that's why you see Hoodie Lyle today and not regular Lyle, because he is sad and he is pissed. And that's Lyle Goes Wild.
That was Lyle Goes Wild. Awesome, Lyle. Definitely agree with some of your points there regarding the hypocrisy of Kevin Durant hosting his own interview show. And it goes beyond ESPN allowing it, but it also shows what a fraud Durant is, because he's the one that criticizes all the reporters asking him dumb, quote unquote, dumb questions. Well, guess who's doing the dumb questioning now, Durant? You're a part of that hypocrisy that Lyle mentioned as well. We're going to go ahead here and talk about the NBA. We were going to talk about the Knicks a little bit today, but the only thing that needs to be mentioned right now, and I shouldn't be as excited about it as I should be, because for some reason, the year that the Knicks decide to stink, the NBA decides to give the top 3 worst teams the same equal percentage in the lottery to get the first 3 picks. But nonetheless, the Knicks are losing. And they're losing to the second worst team in the league, in the Phoenix Suns. And as long as they continue to lose, guess what? That guy that both Nick and Lyle think is still going to be the number 1 pick, regardless if he plays the rest of the college basketball season, is going to be with the Knicks. Lyle, are you excited or what?
Picture this. We're here today, next year, and we just see Mitchell Robinson putting up double-doubles in blocks and rebounds, and Zion putting up double-doubles in assists and points, and sometimes a triple-double in rebounds, together, doing beautiful things while Dennis Smith is just yeeting balls across to Kemba Walker and Durant putting up threes. The dream is near, folks.
So we got 3 players? I thought the dream was Durant and the draft pick.
Durant, the draft pick, Kemba Walker, Mitchell Robinson, Dennis Smith Jr. Done.
Wow, that sounds like a wonderful dream. I hope you wake up sometime soon, and but no, for real. I mean that would be amazing. But I'm excited that the Knicks continue to lose, but it does stink because we probably are going to finish as the worst team, which would give us the most odds to get the first overall pick. But of course, this is the year in which top 3 teams get the top worst percentages, so it's all equal. So the Knicks end up with 1, 2, 3. They can end up with 10 for all we know.
We'll end up with the 8th pick. Calling it now. We're going to end up with the 8th pick.
That would be depressing. Speaking of depressing, the Lakers, in this final stretch of games for the NBA season, there's 18 games left. They're currently losing to the Denver Nuggets at home. They have technically less after they lose today. They have less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. Nick, do the Lakers make the playoffs?
No chance. I mean, they had no chance after they blew that game against the Bucks where they were up like 13 points midway into the third quarter. But honestly, that team is just not doing it. And I really don't know what to say.
So the Lakers are 5.5 games back of the 8th seed against a pretty disappointing San Antonio Spurs team, if you ask me, which we haven't spoken enough about them this season, but maybe we'll get to that soon. 5.5 games back. They're losing to Denver tonight. They still got to verse Toronto. They still got to verse Golden State. They're the two teams that they're chasing, the Clippers and the Spurs. They only played the Clippers once. They don't even play the Spurs again. So I think we've accepted the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs. I think everybody in the world, ESPN is already tweeting, "Hey, LeBron hasn't made the playoffs since 14 seasons ago when he was a rookie. That was the last time he never made the playoffs because the percentage of them making is so little." Why haven't the Lakers been successful this year, Nick? Like, is it because of the youth with LeBron? Is it because LeBron being LeBron?
Maybe it's the fact that he tried to give away his whole team for Anthony Davis.
Do you
Maybe
think
they just don't care to show up on a daily basis.
You think that was the turning point at that point?
I mean, put it this way: if you're one of the players that were in contention of being dished off, how would you feel? Would you want to come to work the next day and?
I'll play devil's advocate. Before you speak, I'll play devil's advocate real quick. That also, you can also argue the fact that these kids are young and immature because, hey, I mean, Kevin Love and Kyrie were always rumored to be traded, let's say, and they handled it like veterans, like professionals. Do you think that could be part of it as well? Do you think it's just the youth, or do you tend to agree with Nick?
There's a couple things that happened. Firstly, injuries. LeBron was out for a bunch of games. They lost almost all of them. Rondo was out. Lonzo was out. Ingram was out. Everyone was out for a time. No one could shoot on that Lakers team, and when you have a LeBron James, you always had shooters to spread the floor. They didn't have that. They went with guys who were going to body people. That doesn't work with LeBron. They figured that out a little too late. That's why they traded for Reggie Bullock, who's been dreadful. And honestly, I think LeBron playoff mode didn't really occur. And I think he's a little bit more focused on his new PR show, The Shop. I'm not sure if you caught it. But he's basically Oprah.
It's basically where Antonio Brown goes to just like spread so much garbage on the.
I've watched a lot of the episodes of The Shop. I do think it's excellent, but at the same time, it seems like he's a little bit more focused on his new endeavors than he is basketball. So I think he's seen this as a lost season earlier on, and it is what it is. So one thing I have to say to the Lakers: nah, 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 nah. Hey, leave. Just go.
I agree with you both. I think it's a little bit of everything, though. I think it's Hollywood drama, right? It's LeBron moving to LA to focus on his movie and show side of things. It's also his son. His son was a big part of him moving to and going and playing for LA. Brandon Ingram and Kuzma, two young stars. It's the fact that they couldn't handle the pressure of maybe being dealt. But then you could look at Magic Johnson and say, well, why weren't they dealt? Why didn't you get Anthony Davis? That's the player that we wanted to get. How come you didn't make any moves to make us better at the deadline? You can also blame Walton. You also blame Walton and say, you know what, maybe he really isn't that good of a coach. And of course, there's LeBron. And listen, you could look at his numbers and say he's been amazing. He has been, but this has been we all had them going to the playoffs. We all did in the beginning of the season. So there was no excuse for it. There was no excuse for it. We can't sit here and say, oh, well, LeBron and the Lakers didn't make it because he had no help. Well, we knew he had no help when the season started, and we still predicted him to make the playoffs. Why? Because it's LeBron. So LeBron definitely gets some of the blame here as well. Do the Lakers make the playoffs if LeBron is fully healthy and maybe misses a week instead of 6 weeks? Do you guys think so?
Yeah, I think they're a lot closer.
I think if they make this a push, if they go, so there's 18 games left and they go 14-4 in the last 18 games, that's a pretty good push right there. Maybe you can argue it. But if they continue to play that the way they've been playing, losing to the Grizzlies, right? They lost to the Grizzlies. They lost to the Pelicans. Like, they lost to the Pelicans team without AD. To continue to lose like that, I can't sit here and say, had LeBron been healthy, they make the playoffs. Speaking of big market franchises, the counterparts of the Lakers in the East, we will all say is probably the Celtics, and the Celtics are in swirling mode as well. They're 4-6 in the last 10 games, but they had a huge win yesterday on the road in Golden State, beating them by almost 30 points. Nick, did you get a chance to watch that game at all and see how well Hayward looked coming off the bench for the Celtics?
Man, I was following it on my phone just because I have a lot of fancy implications in that game, but I didn't get to catch most of it. But I saw that Hayward had a great game, 30 points, 7 rebounds.
Yeah, he looked tremendous coming off the bench for the Celtics, and this is the
It's about time.
Yeah, it's the time of year where we're kind of hoping that the Celtics can finally put it together, because I think the three of us, if I'm not mistaken, I'd bet a lot of money on it that before the season started, the three of us all thought that the Celtics would have an amazing second half of the season, because we all knew it was going to take time for them to gel with Irving and Hayward coming back. No,
I agree. Again, the Celtics are so. Let me start with Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, like Paul George, had horrific injuries. We didn't see peak Paul George until I would say this year. Paul George is back to his powers pre-injury.
Paul George is having the best year of his career.
He's having a year like the year before his injury. This is that Paul George. And it's going to take Gordon Hayward time to get that back. It took Paul George almost 2 years to get back to this level. It's going to take Hayward time. But the thing with the Celtics is they are such a deep team, but except in one spot, the center spot. And I think the loss of Aaron Baines for a few weeks has hurt them during the stretch. Aaron Baines is a pivotal part of this team, whether you like his play or not. I think they put it together. Again, they just have too much talent to let this chance slip them. I think they are probably the second deepest team in the East, and they have probably the second best front end talent in the league. So the other is the Raptors, the most talented. I think might be the Sixers starting five, but the Celtics have the combination of both.
Now, La, I want to be a good friend here and just let the wonderful listeners of the J&J Talk Sports podcast, make sure you guys subscribe on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes podcast app, that you're not comparing Hayward and Paul George.
No, I'm comparing their injuries.
George is a superstar. Exactly.
No.
We're just comparing the injuries, and yes. I understand that, and I understood that part. I just want to clear it up for our listeners, just in case they may have heard it the other way.
It might take him 2 years, like it took Paul George 2 years to get back to peak.
Exactly. And I knew that's exactly what you meant. Just wanted to clear it up a little bit more, for your sake, of course, for your sake. So the Celtics, they destroyed. That's an understatement. They dominated against the Golden State Warriors at Golden State. Now, there were some comments that were made after the game by Draymond Green. Reporter goes up to Draymond and said that you guys didn't play with any anger today. Draymond came out and said, what he say? Play for anger? I thought we were supposed to play for joy. Now, Draymond has been on the back end of a lot of the bad side of a lot of media within this past year, and I believe he's a free agent at the ending of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Odds are he probably won't come back. Do you guys just take this with a little bit of a grain of salt here with the Draymond comments?
I mean, badly. I honestly, it's a dumb question. It's just such a dumb question. Why aren't you playing angry? Because we're not angry. Like, what do you want him to say? No. This out of all the Draymond Green nonsense,
I have love for the game.
This is the most mundane thing. The reporters have a question or bad beat. What does he expect? He's going to get like an answer that opens up the heavens.
And it's Draymond. Like, it's like as if you're not. It's like you ask the question knowing he's going to say something stupid.
I wouldn't call this stupid. It's just answers.
All right. Wow, you liked OD.
Am I the only one hearing that lag? That like his whole tail end of what he was just saying.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up deleting that part. Anyways. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, delete that whole comment shit. Anyway, don't give a fuck.
All right. So right before we get into the last thing we're gonna discuss here, I just wanted to point out something to you guys really quickly. For the Celtics, and I'm bringing it back to them before we close out that whole segment right there. For the Celtics to be successful, you guys go to the box score against the Warriors, okay? Look what Kyrie Irving did. This is exactly what he needs to do. He took only
What, almost a
15
triple
shots.
double?
He only took 15 shots. He shot a 7 for 15 from the field, which is a good percentage for Kyrie. He usually, he's shooting on the subpar 40s this year. That's basically almost 50%. He was 2 for 5 from the 3-point range, 11 assists for 19 points. That's the kind of player that Kyrie needs to be, the type of leader, on-court leader that he needs to be for the Celtics. He doesn't need to be the guy. He doesn't need to be the guy. He needs to be the leader. If you get 10 assists per game in the playoffs, Celtics are going to go far with Kyrie Irving leading them because he's going to get his scoring. We know that. We just don't need him to put up 14, 15, 16 shots per game, get us those assists, and I think the Celtics will be fine.
Oh, that also ties into how they played last year going to the postseason. There weren't any superstars in that Celtics team. They made a deep run into the Eastern Conference. It wasn't anybody putting up more than 20 points a game. It was everybody being a pivotal role player. Terry Rozier stepping in, being a good enough facilitator, and then just everybody bringing up their game just because the team chemistry is just going to be there. So, and Kyrie being more of a facilitator is what that Boston team needs.
Lyle? Oh, okay. I thought you
were. Yeah, it looked like you were about to say.
Really quickly. Yes, I agree with Nick, but sometimes you need a superstar to take control, and that's why Kyrie's there.
And that's when
Gordon Hayward's there.
Well, because apparently Gordon Hayward and Paul George are the same thing.
Let's also not forget that Klay Thompson didn't play. Klay Thompson didn't play. That's a big.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so one final question to end this podcast. What's your biggest, boldest prediction for the final stretch in the NBA? I'll give you guys some time to think about it.
No, I came up with one. I kind of don't want to say it because I don't want it to be true.
Nope, you're gonna have to say it now.
All right, ready?
No, I was gonna say that the Nets don't make the playoffs.
All right, ready? Start with that because we're gonna so we can react whenever you're ready.
I don't want to say it though. All right. Well, one of my predictions, as much as I don't want to say it,
your boldest prediction. Your boldest prediction.
My boldest that everybody from New York City is probably going to hate me for. I'm gonna go and say that the Nets don't make the playoffs.
Wow.
I'm looking at their last 13 or so games. Other than the next two at Atlanta and with Detroit, which are winnable for them, they're going to Oklahoma City. They're going to Utah. They're going to the Clippers. They're going to the Sacramento Kings. They're going to the Lakers. That's a winnable game. They're going to Portland. They're going to Philly, and they're playing at home against Boston.
Wow.
Those are all playoff teams. At home, the Nets being away, and it's tough. They only have they're only 2 games ahead of Orlando. 1 game ahead of Orlando.
2.5 ahead of the Heat. 3 ahead of the Magic. Wow, that's funny. It's very bold, but it's not far fetched, and it's actually a pretty good take there, thinking that the Nets won't make the playoffs.
Hopefully, I'm wrong, but only time will tell.
Sir Lyle, would you like to share a bold prediction of yours?
I have a very bold prediction. It's going to be wrong, but it's not going to be wrong. And here's why. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win the Western Conference and go to the NBA Finals.
Wow. Nice.
There's a bold prediction.
Where do you think they finish in the standings?
Honestly, I think they finish where they are at 4th. And I think they take out the Trailblazers. And they take out anyone else in their way. Because you want to see someone play angry. We're going to get a Russell Westbrook and Paul George that could destroy nations, let alone basketball teams.
That's actually, I would love to see anyone but the Warriors back in the finals. But My bold prediction is not so bold, but it's something that I would love to see. I predict that James Harden will average just over 37 points per game for the rest of the season, which would mean that he breaks MJ's record for most points per game average during a season. Another bold prediction, really quickly.
Can I tie in real quick? Speaking
Yeah.
of MJ, LeBron James just passed Michael Jordan in most points,
LeBron
all-time
James.
scoring.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Bron just became 4th of all time.
Congratulations, LeBron. You know what?
I'm not impressed.
Let's end it on that. Let's end it on a LeBron hashtag fun fact.
Let's
That-
hope.
Fun fact: he hasn't missed the playoffs in 14 years. Fun fact: he just passed MJ in the all-time scoring list.
That
Congrats, and I'm sorry for you.
That will do it for this episode of J&J Talk Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at JNJTalkSports. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes Podcast. I'm Justin. You can follow me on Twitter at EasyPolizzi_21. That's EasyPolizzi_21.
And follow your boy Nick Stefanu at StefanuN. That's STEPHANOUN on Twitter and Instagram. That is right, Lyle. I cut you off. I am number 2 this time.
He hijacked
but
you.
Lyle, go ahead. Let the fans know where to find you.
Because we saved the best for last. Again, I am Lyle, aka Lyle Style. You can follow me on Twitter at LYLESSTYLE. You can peep me on the Hellbent, twitch.tv/Hellbent Tabletop on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. doing nerd things. And I'm going to say this one last very important thing. Don't forget to turn your clocks forward this weekend because it's daylight savings time.
Oh, man.
Always looking out for the fans.
Later.
I love it.